we're opting not to actually have a physical booth at the event, and I thought maybe that means I'm getting out of it. It didn't work out that way. It is always amazing to me the square footage that they fill up with booths, and especially the big name. If I was to look back and say 10 years ago, what would my definition of success have been? It definitely would have been specific to medicine. It's okay.
Nope. You're okay.
I'll be back in a few days.
Love you.
Good morning, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 5. As you can see, we are in the car and without a husband or a dog. Every year there is this annual convention for radiologists called RSNA that is down in Chicago at the McCormick Center. Usually, the company I work for, we have a booth there, and so I am usually flying down Saturday to help with setup because I was the one designing all of the product demos and getting everything set up for sales. This year, because we're kind of pivoting some of our focus, we're opting not to actually have a physical booth at the event, and I thought maybe that means I'm getting out of it. It didn't work out that way. Had a number of different groups reach out that are interested in having conversations around partnering and other commercial activities that all asked, hey, are you going to be at RSNA? Everyone's under the same roof, and so it is efficient to actually go and just meet with a bunch of people. So that is what I am doing. Last night there was a decent winter storm, I guess, that hit basically everything between Green Bay and Chicago, and so leaving abundantly early just in case. So yeah, we'll be down there for the next 2 days. Alright, I am going to turn off the camera and focus on driving. I will see you guys in Chicago. All right, we stopped quick just to grab some Red Bull and some other stuff to stock the hotel room. I needed hairspray and stuff, so quick stop. It's been a bit of a breeze getting down here, which was awesome. So I've got maybe another 30 minutes into the city. I think we're just gonna park right at the convention center because it's only 12:30 now. I highly doubt that my hotel room will be ready. So, yeah, stop, grab some gas, and off to McCormick. I'm tired. All right, finally back. It has been a full day. Got to the conference and there were like way less people there than I'm so used to seeing. It's especially on the first day, there's usually like seas of people going up the escalators and the stairs into the conference center. But due to the weather that I had mentioned earlier, a lot of flights were delayed or canceled. So I'm assuming that more people will be there tomorrow, but it was pretty quiet. It is always amazing to me, if any of you have been to the McCormick Center, or even like any large convention center, the square footage that they fill up with booths, and especially the like big name, you know, United Healthcare, Fujifilm, GE booths are just so insanely impressive and massive. But yeah, got to the convention center and walked around for about an hour or two, just checking things out, scoping, making a list of the people that I need to make sure I go talk to tomorrow. And then I had 3 meetings, one of which was very productive, so keep our fingers crossed on that. And the other thing is the medical imaging world is so small that you almost instantly run into people who you used to work with, whether like at the company or at other companies. I racked up, 5 bingo spots already, and I'm anticipating that that was such a small group of folks anyways. I'm sure tomorrow will be full of many more. So after I finished my last meeting, I ran over and hopped in my car, which I parked obviously out at the convention center, drove down to the hotel. I'm staying at the Hilton right off Michigan Avenue. And came up, dropped off my stuff, called Brett quick, and then ran out for a business dinner and had probably some of the best Asian food I've ever had, definitely the best dumplings I've ever had. And it was at this QXY Dumplings in Chinatown over here. I'll put the link. It was literally incredible. So good. We had the Wagyu beef and truffle dumplings, which were Wagyu beef and truffle dumplings. We had some fried pork something, I can't remember. Everything we tried was absolutely delicious. So 15 out of 10 would recommend if you're in Chicago for whatever reason and looking for dumplings. Now we are back. I've got a couple emails I need to send off, and then a full day of showroom floor activities tomorrow, so I'm going to try and call it an early night. But before we do that, we are going to remember to do the question of the day. And this one is fairly fitting, especially given that I grew up in Chicago. I, for multiple periods throughout
med school, we're kind of back here, and this really is the OG home. But the question is, how has your definition of success changed in your 30s? And there are probably some like generic sweeping themes that we can get to at the end of this. But if I was to look back and say like 10 years ago, what would my definition of success have been? It definitely would have been specific to medicine, right? I was in college preparing to go to medical school. I then was in med school. I have a whole episode or two of the podcast, talking about in depth the details of everything. But I think that I would have very clearly defined my success as getting into a surgery residency and then ultimately ending up in trauma surgery and critical care. Obviously, I'm at a business show for radiologists that is not my life. And I'm totally cool with that. And I don't think I could have gotten my 20-year-old self to get there without living the 10 years that I did. What really has been the biggest shift, I think, especially in the last maybe 3 years or so, is not downplaying the fact that I have this education and that it is useful outside of the direct hospital clinical practice setting. There are so many systems and softwares and applications that are being built and are built for the clinician that are designed by people who have no idea what a doctor's like day in the life is, what they're interested in, what matters most to them, what systems that they are used to using and the patterns that exist in those tools. And I get to bring that very unique point of view to companies and conversations. So if I'm looking and saying, like, if I have been successful in my 30s, or, in my 30s now, it's, are you still pursuing ways to use that knowledge instead of shrinking away from it and, I don't know, being ashamed or nervous to share your opinion because you aren't a board certified X, Y, and Z. And I would say that I have succeeded. It took me a while to get there, to find my footing, to find my voice as I had shifted from research into business. But for me, that is a key component to what I would consider my rubric for have I been successful this year or this decade. Metric 2 is, are people, companies having a hard time pinning you to a single, well-defined role? If the answer is yes, then to me, for myself, I consider that to be successful. I continuously kind of absorb tasks or initiatives that are cross-functional across the company. And even though my title says X, if you really were to name the things I do, it's most of the alphabet. I'm not taking each of those things all the way to fruition, but I have enough of an understanding of the marketing landscape, of workflows in pharma, workflows in med device, workflows in academic medical centers, clinical trials, and how technology is evolving, how AI is being applied, that I can do kind of this like full 360 view of what we're trying to achieve, and then also zoom in and zoom out. And so I can tell you right now, my title absolutely does not reflect the breadth or even the breadth of the top 5 things that I do in a given month. For a while that bothered me, that it was like, well, if I'm doing all of these things, my role should reflect that. And ultimately, when you look at it, you can't put all of those things under one umbrella. It doesn't exist in the traditional structured space. And not that the average person in a given role only sits inside that role. But I do, for me personally, I have been successful if I've been able to check the box related to my role, but I also am doing 15 other things to move the bigger needle on what we're trying to do. So as simplistic as I can put it is like not assuming you're supposed to stay in the box, and also not staying in the box if that is the assumption. And then probably lastly would be, are you either setting yourself up to move closer to goals outside of work, or have you made progress on things outside of work that allow you to exist as a human being that is more well-rounded than just, hey, what have you been up to? Oh, my job, my job, my job. This one, if I was like grading myself, the first 2, I'll say A-. This one, we are doing better, but we are in C- territory. And so I think it is, we've done better about traveling and spending time just like Brett and I, and leaving our laptops at home, or like not opening them while we're out, and actually dedicating time to go explore the world and have awesome experiences, the 2 of us. That being said, they are like burst activities, and then we kind of lull back into just hanging on to the monotony of overworking. So that one is definitely, I've got a couple more years in my 30s. Hopefully when we're talking about what does it feel like to be 40, then we can say that box is ticked off. But that is the other metric that I think in general is important to me in terms of my success. Rambling. But in general, from a 50,000 foot view, how has my idea of success changed? I was very hyper-focused on one thing, which was becoming a trauma surgeon in my 20s. And in my 30s, due to a multitude of things, and just like being forced to shift focus because that wasn't going to happen, I want to leave my 30s out of the box, leveraging every different piece of who I am as a person, which is my medical degree, my research background, my entrepreneurship background, my now product and partner background, my artistic background, my like human experience background. I want to be able to use all of those colors in my work life. And I want to be able to I want to grow myself beyond just my career and make incremental improvements as we go. Well, I hope some of that makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed today's vlog, and I'll see you in the morning.